So yeah, we're recording this so that people can watch it later who aren't able to be here tonight. And hopefully we'll be able to include them in what we're doing. I know that some of the leaders, Colleen and David are down in California, I think still they're not back, and others are in different places. So, and we always know that this is the way it's going to be. Some of these, you know, we put something on a Friday night, we're not going to be able to get everybody out to it, so we can make it available in other ways. So, yeah, this is the first time we've had Night Shift come to these team nights. You weren't here for the November one, but we do want these times to be real times of encouragement for us, for the people serving in the church together in different ways. My goals for this evening are that we would build some connection. I hope that just by sitting in a room where we've all been together already, you feel like you're part of something bigger. I think sometimes when you're just doing your own night on night shift or whatever, you can feel kind of isolated in that. But also just to connect with each other. I don't know all of you necessarily by name. You guys, I don't know your names. I'm glad that you're a part of night shift. I think I know just about everybody else in the room though. But maybe we can talk later and you can introduce yourselves and we can talk a little bit about it. I do want you though to feel free to pipe in and correct me when I'm wrong in terms of things I'm going to be saying. We're going to be talking a little bit about coordination as well of this ministry, and then also a bit about just celebrating, recognizing the impact that we're having, and then talking about where this ministry can go a bit. I had the privilege the other night to meet together with the people down at Night Shift in Surrey. I got to go down there and see what they're doing there and just connect with them a little bit. And that was a real encouragement to me, just to get to know some of those people, to see where they're at. This book that's sitting on the coffee table here, have any of you read this book? Or you know what I'm talking about? She gave me a copy of this. It's the story of the beginnings of this whole ministry here and some of the things that they went through in order to get it started. If you're interested in it, I've got it in my study. You can borrow it and we can pass it around if you're interested in reading it.
Who wrote it?
Mary Ann Connor,
Okay.
the founder, yeah.
The founder.
So I was given that book. I haven't got a chance to read through it myself yet, but just kind of paging through it, it looks like a quite interesting story. Some of the roadblocks they've had in terms of getting that going, and she was talking a little bit with me about that when we were down there as well. I also want to just get a little bit of coordination tonight, clarifying my role as your church staff member liaison for this. I am in a learning curve in a lot of things. When I first was asked to be on the pastoral team, one of my roles was to coordinate the music teams as well, and I have just been so overwhelmed. I haven't been able to spend almost any time on this ministry or on global outreach, which are also other parts of my job. So really I've just been digging into this in the last 6 weeks or so in terms of getting to even understand this ministry and what's going on. But I really have appreciated that you folks have kept this ministry going. That's how it does work. You know, I felt in some ways, Ryan was talking to me in terms of my role and what I need to do in terms of being prepared and to help you. There are some things that I've come to realize that you would like me to do. One of those would be to be a formal connection to that organization. I did meet with Carrie and some of the other people down there this last week, or the week before. And I let her know that we as a church raised funds with our Believe campaign here. And part of that, if you remember, the budget of it was to give $5,000 to the development of the Langley office. They need some new equipment and that kind of stuff there. So I was able to tell her that we had raised that money and we were going to get a check to her for that. But then just as we were talking, we were just celebrating the way that you guys are carrying out this work week to week. She's now got me on the mailing list where the different nights the team leaders hand in a little report or whatever after the evening, and I'm getting those in my email now, so I'm able to see what's going on here in Langley, and it's exciting to see those coming in. Another part of my role is to help onboard new volunteers. That's one thing that's kind of been lacking over the last couple of months, and I think Sarah was doing a good job of that before I was asked to take it on. I'm going to be trying to create a list of subs, connect them with a team leader. I just became aware of exactly how all people get on-ramped. And one of those, she uses the word getting people badged in terms of knowing what they're doing here. Are there a number of people that do this job from our church that have never gone through that training? Do you know? You guys know?
We've gone through the training, applied for the badges several times,
get the
still
physical
haven't
badge.
arrived.
So you're talking about the actual badge?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're more concerned that you have the training than
Yeah.
that you have the badge. but
That's been
Right,
yeah. So
yeah.
okay.
Nate, have you got a badge?
No badge, no,
I got a
just
badge.
a training.
Oh, I got one.
I took the training twice.
Okay.
Not his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I've got some more training things coming up, and I'll be sending out emails just letting you know about some of those. Usually they're on Zoom. My understanding is
Oh, good.
in the evening,
Yeah.
6:30 to 8:30, one night a week or something like that.
Who's on Zoom?
The training's on Zoom now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Marianne tells you about,
Yeah?
yeah. what it is.
Oh, that's good.
She also let me know that there's something called the Forge course. Have any of you ever heard of that or know what that's talking about when I say that?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
Good.
It runs over 5 Monday nights, and it features speakers who are addressing subjects on homelessness, addiction, mental illness, all those types of things. And I'll send out a little more information about that. I think the next one is actually full. They want to keep it down so that people can interact.
That's one of our nights though, unfortunately.
Right, yeah, the one Monday is
The
one of
Monday?
those.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's one that costs. It's a $60 course to take, but it sounds like it would be quite interesting in terms of that. I haven't been on one of your nights yet. Way back in my Bible college days, we used to go down to the streets of Calgary and do something similar like this. So I'm a little bit familiar with the kind of work that it is, but I would love to get a little more familiar. If we do get a number of volunteers, there have been a number of people who have inquired off and on over the last few months, and if it gets to be that much, we would want to expand maybe to another night as well. She says they're looking for people to fill in the 5th Wednesday and the 5th Tuesday of the month. So that's not a regular thing. It's only when we have a 5th. If you understand what I'm saying by that. So they're looking for somebody to fill in with that, and then I think there is one other regular night as well. But anyway, those are some of the things that they're looking for in terms of that. But we would need someone to lead that team. And then if we want to expand, we'd want to. Oh yeah, that did already just had that on my other thing. Another part of my role is to just kind of ensure the flow of resources to troubleshoot functional problems in the ministry. I've been talking with Eugenie about the function of the ovens down there, and if we could do something a little better in terms of that for how that's working. At the end of our time here, I'm going to ask what else would you like me to be doing, or what can we be doing better, and we'll take a little bit of time to brainstorm that as well. So. But that's kind of where I was starting out, trying to figure out my role. And then I want to talk a little bit about coordination of the various roles that you have. My understanding is that Eugenie has been acting as a food coordinator and a cook, generally setting up meal menus, shopping for the food, bringing supplies over from their office there in Surrey. And then doing some food prep for some of the teams. What else is involved in that role? What am I missing? What have I not said in terms of all that gets done? If you could help me understand how it all works.
What else is there, Eugenie?
Well, I don't know what the leaders have told him, so I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, I'm just doing this from observation. I'm not being told by anybody.
Oh,
I'm
so
just,
you haven't spoken to the leaders?
Oh, in terms of what they thought your role was?
Not my role, no.
Oh, okay.
I know what my role is.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
I don't know. I was thinking of the leaders. I don't know what they said to you about
Oh, no.
what they are doing or what they have to do. Or,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I was just starting with
Oh.
your role, though.
Oh, my role.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's where I was starting.
Well, I
so-
think you covered it. And
Okay.
You said.
Okay. We'll keep going and maybe we'll come back to some of these things. The role of a volunteer, or role of a team leader, sorry, we'll go there first.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the team leaders are there just to make sure that the whole thing gets, they have a checklist that they go through and make sure that everything
Yeah.
happens on a certain evening. Making sure there's enough people are showing up to carry out the ministry, coordinate with the volunteers in their roles. What else does the team leader do from your perspectives? Is that
Well, we
about
get everything down there,
it? Okay,
and I don't know. See, they're not here, neither one of them.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I
practically, I'm not even aware, do you take the food down in your own vehicles, or?
Well,
are you doing that, or they bring the van
Well,
here?
the van is brought up here.
Oh, it is, okay,
The food truck is brought up here.
Yeah.
If
By
somebody
one of
knows
the
how to
group.
figure out how to use it, but,
right,
the food truck comes up, load the food truck up,
Yeah.
there you go.
Oh, okay.
Before the food truck was available, was personal vehicles.
I
so,
see,
Yeah.
with tents.
okay,
But the food truck is located at CLA consistently,
Parking
right?
lot.
So one of our team will go, pick it up
Okay.
from the church.
sure, okay. What's the role of a volunteer then? They're helping with final food prep here at the church when you first get here, then they take it and they serve it on the street. What else do you see as those roles? Like, what are the practical things that you're trying to get done there, and what are you involved in as volunteers?
You guys have been down. You guys know what do you guys
What do
normally
you guys
do?
normally do?
What do you do?
And our food.
Hand out food, okay?
What else?
What do you do beforehand?
Before though, when
Make
you
the
come
food.
in,
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Make the food.
But
Okay.
no, what do you do though? What is your job? Usually when we
Getting the bags and cookies and snacks ready.
right?
Right,
organize
making
all
Yeah.
that.
making it into portions.
Yeah. So you're getting everything together and wrapping them and to take down.
We have the setup too sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Tables, when we get to the site, get that put together.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the logistical things, but there's also the interaction between the people attending and
Yeah.
so on. Relationship building is going to be really off and on anyway.
Right,
But it's for that period of time that people are in front of you. Yeah, there's a certain amount of interaction in that area too,
Okay.
so.
yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit as well. I had a bit of a conversation. The role of the driver, my understanding, Dave drives, Paul drives, sometimes Fabio, is that right?
Yeah.
Between the
Yeah.
three of you, okay?
So each night leader has someone to drive, or they
Right.
drive,
Okay,
or they. I think the third group. I don't know if they're using the van at all. I think they were still doing. They started off without the van.
oh,
Well,
okay,
most of us have started off without the van.
right,
So I don't think they've even gone to the van,
okay, yeah,
right?
okay. What do they set up tables in a tent or something, or what?
Depends on what's going on.
Okay.
I guess if you have the truck, do you need tables? Or depends on what you're dishing out,
Yeah.
right? If they're
don't.
dishing out clothing, I guess they
Right.
need a separation from the food and
Right, yeah,
themselves, so they'll take
Are you
out
on the
tables.
Thursday
I'm on Wednesday night.
He's on
The
Wednesday.
third Wednesday night, yeah.
with
Peter.
Chad, that
No,
group?
No,
No,
the
Peter.
parents and-
oh, okay,
The pre-COVID, we did it, we were a little more, we always set a table with the van, because the hot food was served from the van,
okay,
and then the tables contain the, like the coffee and the tea
Right.
and, hand out extra stuff,
Okay.
so. But it also depends on weather too, if
Yeah.
it's a rainy night, we'll bring tents.
Last night,
Yeah.
last time we said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how do you handle it when someone isn't able to be there, like in general, how are we covering bases for, let's start with just
The volunteers?
regular volunteers, yeah, if they're not there.
Keep going.
Just keep going, yeah.
Just keep going.
It's,
Okay. Do you have any kind of a sub list that you can phone somebody last minute and say, could you join? Do you have anything like that?
well, on average, most people do show up, or the leaders are setting out a list saying, reminding them that it's
Okay.
Monday night, let's
Right,
say.
yeah.
And for them to let them know if they can't
Right.
make it. You
Okay.
know, I mean, unless some sudden illness or something's happened,
Right,
most people show up, and if they can't, then that's up to the leader to find enough people to help
Okay.
them out.
okay,
But it's like this, last Monday for us, Colleen and Dave was away, so that's two. I think we all knew that, and then one of her own people said she can't make it. They had COVID, the
Okay.
family, right?
Right.
So they couldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
You can't ask them to come. And then thought, okay, well, we can still go on. And next thing you know, someone, her husband, the other volunteer husband, fell, so she's looking after him.
Right.
So we were down to two, well, three of us, so Shelley and myself. So I tried to call Shelley, couldn't get her, but left a message. I came in at 2:00 and just kept going
yeah,
as far as I could go until Shelley came in, and because I know Paul could only come a certain time.
right,
So you just keep going.
okay.
But we don't have a list.
Okay, that's probably something that I could maybe help work with, because I saw that on the list, one list that I had, there was a couple of people who said, you know, if really needed, you can give me a call. Well,
Okay.
that needs to be clarified, and we need to, you know,
All right.
it probably would be helpful.
Yeah, I've helped out the other team too.
Right.
Yeah.
Chad's team, if they need help, then I'll go in. They
Right.
phone me in the morning and I go in.
You're right. Yeah. So that's happened. Yeah. So
Okay.
they've pulled, I guess, from another team
Right.
to see if another team member can come, and then they
Okay.
help out.
I will try to help with that whole area, just to make
Okay.
sure that those kind of things get covered.
Yeah.
If a team leader is
Yeah.
gonna be gone, do they usually put somebody else in charge, or how does that work?
They just let us know,
Depends on the
and we
group.
decide,
Okay.
and we
Yeah.
decide.
Okay,
There was one in November, Peter and I were away, we were in Toronto, so he, I don't know, he spoke to somebody,
It was
he tried,
It was Fabian. right?
Fabian, that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
he
yeah,
did.
okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
you were gone for close to
So I
a
was
month
gone,
one time.
yeah. So I was
What
gone.
happened during that, or how does that take?
That was a total freak out, because Colleen and Dave were gone too. Or no, maybe
No,
Dave was
Colleen
there.
was,
No,
Colleen
Colleen
was
was
here.
gone, but Dave was there, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, she was called away with her family, so she was gone.
Right,
So we let each other know, and they seemed to work it out. And then
Okay.
with that,
okay,
I would change up my menu if I was physically going to cook from scratch.
right,
And that's when our pizza come in handy and
Right.
say, okay, you guys, you know what? Do pizza. So
okay,
all that helps.
okay. Thank you for that discussion. I'm just trying to figure out and fit, you know, how things are working and how I can come along and help you.
Yeah.
That's really what I wanted to talk a bit
I
about
think
tonight.
sometimes, Richard, you may have to just stand back and watch. you know,
Yeah, oh, for sure,
Be,
yeah,
be the fly on the wall
Yeah.
and see how the interaction
Yeah.
between, the different groups are gonna handle it differently
Right,
too,
okay.
so.
sure,
But it gets done.
yeah.
It gets done.
Well, and I know that that's the case. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that that's happened, so, yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this ministry. As I got some feedback from various groups in it, people were talking to me about the kind of things that they would love to see continue to happen in regard to this. Some of the ideas for enhanced ministry, people were saying, you know, we're glad that we get to talk with people. What about praying with people? You know, can we do some of that? So I had a bit of a discussion with the people down at Night Shift, and they said one of the things that they've started doing down there at that location is they have one person show up with a clipboard, and basically they just go around and say, would anybody like prayer, something to be prayed for, and they just write it on the clipboard, and then at the end of the evening they actually stand in a circle and say, invite, if you'd like to, we're going to have a prayer circle over here, we're going to pray, and they invite the people that are coming out for the meal, some of them might want to pray. Some of the leaders pray, and it's just kind of become a tradition of the way that they do things over there. So if you're looking for an idea in terms of how they would do it, that might be one that you could use here in terms of being able to do that. And again, I'm not saying you have to do it that way. It's just an idea. If that is something that you really want to, it was expressed by one of the people in, how could we enhance that part of the ministry. So if that's something that you would like to do, we've got clipboards here in the office. We'd be glad to lend them to you, and notepads, and we can make them available to you, and you could do something like that.
Yeah, I have been, Paul and myself have started out there in Wally, so we're
Okay.
so we know the setup and everything else. But when we started to get, we were starting to mingle more with the group. Like, I don't go down because I've got a bit more of a health issue than most of those guys. So I'll make the food and send it down. I've been down, if someone can't go, I'll go down.
Yeah.
But we were starting to be more open with them because we were allowed to.
Right.
And then COVID came and said, no, you can't even serve the food, you
Right.
have to handbag it. So it was like a hands-off thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we even had Trinity students come in and would walk around the circle, or some of them would sit and play, would bring their guitar and just play music,
Okay.
and we would pray. If people needed it, it seemed like what we got going on was, if we spoke with an individual, I know he used to talk to quite a few people
Yeah,
beforehand. And if he saw the need to pray them, I guess he could see the pray with them. But COVID kind of
Yeah.
shut you back, and so I don't know how much close contact are we allowed with them now.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
I think what she was saying there is, they're doing it as much as they can, still maintaining as much social distance as they can. Most of the people that come, they're not wearing masks.
no,
And so you have to be kind of careful with some of those types of things. But anyway, that's just an idea.
yeah.
Someone else asked about handing out Bibles, and she said that down at that location, it's kind of their tradition at Easter to hand out New Testaments.
Oh,
And
okay.
if we would like to do that here, if there would be teams that would, we can get a supply of New Testaments, and you guys could do that as well.
Oh,
So that's an idea. If you would like to do that, we can get that supply, and you could do something like that as well. We talked a little bit more about invitations. Someone asked, could we invite some of these people to come to our church and those types of things? And her caution was this, and I'll just try to say it the way that she did. We in no way want people to feel like they have to respond in order to get what we're offering.
right.
And if it comes across like, if we're inviting you to church and that's the reason why we're here, and that we need this reciprocation in order for you to get a meal, then she wouldn't want us to do that. Now, she said there are a number of people that have worked down there in Wally for a number of years, and they have built personal relationships with some of the people on the street, and through that, over time, it becomes a more natural thing for them to do that. And so in no way was she saying don't do this, but she was putting a bit of a caution around it in terms of how we would do it, that it wouldn't become this thing where someone comes up for a meal for the first time and they feel like they've got to come to our church in order to get a meal. So that's the only real caution she put around that. And she did say that it was probably better done on a private basis rather than strongly tied to the work of that ministry. So again, if you build a relationship with an individual and God's laying it on your heart
Yeah.
to bring them to church, she in no way is saying don't do that. But she would really like it to see it come out of the personal relationships
Yeah.
that are built there. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, what about the idea if we knew that, okay, you said Easter is coming, and what about putting, like a pamphlet or something with our church's name in the bags, and just handing it out, it's part of the bag. You're not communicating with a person really, if they want to talk to you about it, they can, what
Yeah.
about that?
That might be a possibility. How many churches here in Langley participate in night shift?
I'm not sure. I'm not.
Like CLA does.
CLA,
I know CLA,
Church in the Valley does,
Okay.
the Adventist church down
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
That's all I know of.
right,
Yeah.
but,
Like look, my idea would be, let's put several of the churches on there. These are the Easter services that
okay,
are happening.
well,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you, well,
Like a
if you,
community,
Yeah.
community.
if you
effort.
guys know that, yeah, I know like CLA is the one that we go to for Easter or whatever.
Right.
So you can put their name on that bag or whatever, or
Yeah.
on the paper that you're putting in,
Mhm.
you know?
Okay, well,
Or even just put the local churches that are close to where
In
they're
the area,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we could do that.
like the vineyard.
because the
and
vineyard
Yeah.
is there,
There's the Catholic church,
yeah.
and, who else is down there? There's an Anglican church, like, I mean, there's
Yeah.
all different varieties of churches.
Right, yeah, yeah, we could do something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm saying if you need, you know, to talk to anyone, here's
Mhm.
some church that you can
Okay.
have connection with.
Yeah, sure. I'll ask her about something like that, if we could make up a flyer like that, that could be added. Okay,
Also too, I was thinking, like you said, you wanted to have, New Testaments for Easter. Maybe we could just let them know that we do have New Testaments, and if anybody's interested, like, they can get them from us.
Yeah.
Like on a regular basis, like if
well, I see, yeah,
Not just once a
beyond
year?
Easter, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
so if you're talking to somebody and you say, well, if you need something to read, you can come back and get it, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, it's in the truck or whatever,
sure.
the leader should have it down
Yeah.
there.
Okay, I'll coordinate with her and try to get those kind of things set up for you, as we approach Easter season for sure, and then maybe beyond as well.
But what about Trinity, letting them know our nights when we're down there? Would we be allowed to do that kind of thing again? Like, remember, you were there, eh, when they'd come
Yeah.
down and play, or talk to people,
Yeah.
and I mean, there's still a group of them that go out, cause I just met one of them here on Sunday, saying, oh yeah, he said, oh yeah, I met you, because, and he was saying that there's another group that comes out there, they come with hot chocolate and sandwiches, and they put them in a knapsack, then they'll go out on the actual street
Oh,
and
okay.
hand those sandwiches out, and then when they're down, they're
Yeah,
down,
they-
but that was part of Trinity's.
Yeah, they just walk the community.
Oh, okay,
They take it directly out into the community
Huh.
rather than
Yeah,
community coming to the central
I
place.
see, oh, okay,
so if people don't wanna come and actually physically get something from us,
right,
then they'll meet them on the street and
Oh,
they can
okay.
do that, so
So-
that sort
so
of thing.
some kind of student
Again,
thing.
with this COVID, I don't
Yeah.
know what they can do
Yeah, I don't know- I
anymore,
don't know
and
what they're doing
what's
either.
rules now.
Oh, I know that like, the Trinity has been clamped down pretty hard, because they wanna make sure that they're keeping their campus safe, so it wouldn't surprise me that they've
Okay.
toned
Yeah.
back on that type of thing, but we can
Right.
see in terms of what they're doing.
What
so.
they're willing to offer.
Well, and then if you have them associating with us, then night shift might want them to do the training also.
I don't know, I mean,
Yeah.
they did before, cause they only played,
Okay.
you know, they played and they talked with people.
Yeah.
You know, so I
Yeah.
don't know what
Okay.
the rules are,
Sure.
that's the whole trouble.
We're probably gonna have to wrap it up soon, we didn't wanna go much more than about a half an hour, but, yeah, so we talked about prayer with clients, Bibles, invitations, those types of things. Before we close, I wanted to spend just a little bit of time. I would love to hear some of the things that have